You could just hit that power switch on the power bar. That'll shut it all down.
Oh yeah, we'll do that.
The big red switch. There you go.
Okay, Mark, is there any
Better than a
examples of
reboot.
things you want to make it clear to the house? You do? Okay, Bigford, turn the cell phones off, no vibrations, no airplane mode.
Is that going to be
In your
distracting?
purse?
Yes, my purse.
Is there any money in there?
Okay, we're good?
Yeah, I think we're good, so Mark, you ready to go? All right.
Good? Five, four, three, two. Welcome to our last session, our third day of teaching in the digital classroom. My name is Jeff Birch. I'm the Chief Technology Officer here at Azusa Pacific University, and I'm being joined by some esteemed colleagues from Intelitech, Intel, and Hewlett-Packard, and we're going to spend some time asking them questions, and our Executive Director of Innovative Teaching and Technology, Mike Trong, is going to guide us through a Q&A period. This event is sponsored particularly by our vendors who have graciously brought leading edge technology here to show us how this can potentially be used in the classroom. And with our experts here alongside them, we're trying to find that critical answer: how do we affect learning and educational impact to our students most effectively utilizing technology? So please join us, and Mike, why don't you take it away?
Thank you, Jeff. So good morning, everybody. I hope you will find today's panel very engaging. But before we get to them, I want to just give a couple of notes about this event. So this three-day event has been more than just a technology showcase. We have a lot of great technology here, but I think beyond the technology and behind the technology are the people who are using it. And really our goal here is to kind of equip and educate the faculty and the staff who are sort of operating and using this to further sort of the learning experience of the students that they are interacting with. So, so this event has been, I think, a very great kind of opportunity for everybody to explore the intersection between pedagogy, technology, and the classroom. So, and today we will be able to talk with some of the technology professionals in the field to kind of get a little bit of their perspective about what are some of the things that are existing in the field as well as what's coming down the pike. I also want to sort of say this idea of a learning space. I mean, I said this in previous sessions, but I think it's worth repeating. There's a quote that I recently encountered that really, I think, sums it up well, and it goes like this. There are good reasons why we don't sleep in the kitchen, eat cereal with a fork, or cut the grass with scissors. We have other tools and rooms that allow us to accomplish those tasks with much greater efficiency and an outcome. For hundreds of years, classroom learning took place in rooms based on a single model of desks and tables, all facing an instructor's podium or desk. And many classrooms today continue to be arranged in that same way. But conducting active learning in a conventional arranged classroom can feel a lot like eating cereal with a fork. So what we're trying to do in this event and in future events is to find the right tool and to change the classroom in a way that will best fit the learning that's happening in today's world. So let me kind of turn to you guys and let you each introduce yourself, tell us your name, what you do, what company you're from, what you do, and what do you love about your job?
All right, you want me to go first?
Please.
All right, good morning, everybody. I'm Brett Collingwood. I'm an enterprise technical specialist with Intel. And I think what I do on a daily basis, I work for the state and local government higher ed division of Intel. I spend a lot of time working with customers. I've always been a real hands-on person. I really enjoy getting technology in front of customers' hands and actually making it work. The challenge of taking it out in the field, getting customers to use it, enjoy it, break it in many cases, or really make it work is what I really enjoy, and I enjoy solving those problems. So this event's been great for us because we've been able to bring out a lot of new technology, get it in people's hands, see if it's going to work for you, and then in many cases break it and make it better. So that's what I really enjoy about my job.
Thank you, Brett. Very well done. Lance Underhill from Hewlett-Packard. I am your HP PPS Field Account Manager for HP. I've been with HP for 15 years now. I'm responsible for all higher ed in Southern California, and some of the best things I like about my job, I would say, is really getting a chance to bring technology to forums like this and teach folks about new technology, how they are used, and how they could best intersect with what you guys are doing as instructors.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rosie Salgado. I'm Vice President of Sales for Intellitech, a small company here in Laverne, California. Intellitech, by the way, is the authorized vendor for HP and Intel Corporation, and we represent a lot of technology behind us. What I love about my job, oh my gosh, what is it that I don't love? I actually really enjoy what I do on a daily basis. I literally get up in the morning and I'm ready to go. I get to meet people like you folks at APU. You guys come to us with all these types of challenges, and we love solving these challenges in the technology arena. But more so, it's the impacting of lives and how that is coming to fruition. So thank you for the opportunity.
So Rosie, since you mentioned the word challenge, I'll start with you, the first question. So as you know, there are many challenges as well as opportunities facing higher ed today. So just from your perspective in the industry and from the experiences you have working with different higher ed institutions or education institutions in general, what are some of those challenges and opportunities, and how have sort of your company engaged in these opportunities and challenges?
That's a great question. So the challenges that we're seeing in the education space from our organization is being to connect technology and curriculum in the classroom. In the K through 12 arena today, children are now growing up with technology in their homes. They're practically born with it, if you really think about it. They're practically learning how to utilize a tablet as they are being born to this earth. And so it's a completely different dynamic. And so the question is, how do we embrace that? How do we make this fun and exciting as they're learning in the education process? And this is where we come in, because it's how to bridge the educator and the student. How do we bring that wow factor to the classroom? If you give a child technology today and you give them a textbook, they embrace technology much faster. And the fact that Intellitech can work with partners like HP and Intel to bring resources, but not just technology, because there's a difference between putting technology in the classroom and then walking away. Today we have to teach ourselves how to use it, how to make it fun, how to make it interactive. And I think that we're in a very great time today that Intellitech, as well as our partners that we have, to bring those resources, because it doesn't have to be challenging. It's a lot of fun, to be honest with you. So hopefully I answered your question.
I want to follow up real quick. In terms of, I want to sort of highlight one specific example, like if you can think of with the client that you worked with in terms of how you kind of gone about addressing some of the challenges or the opportunities that they're looking for.
So let's take Azusa Pacific University, for example. One of the things that we're going to hopefully accomplish and move forward with is many of the manufacturers today are putting a lot of emphasis in the K through 12, and we're not putting a lot of emphasis in higher education. And that's a big question, because we assume that higher education has all the answers, but we don't. And the great thing is that we can look at things as an opportunity to grow and to reevaluate our status to continue. So what we're doing are things like, how do we bridge the manufacturers in APU to be able to be the leaders in educating ourselves internally on how to bring technology into the classroom. So we're working right now with HP and Intel in conjunction with Intellitech to be the go-to university today as the first, or if not one of the first, to be able to bring resources on how we can do this across the board with all of universities nationwide. Is that cool? I mean, think about it. APU gets to be chosen to do that, working with big Fortune 500 corporations to bring that light to fruition.
Speaking of Fortune 500 company, Lance, from HP, what have you seen in terms of higher ed and the challenges and opportunities?
Right, thank you. And I think from my perspective as an account manager and working with many different customers, we see so many vast differences in how technology is utilized from one campus to another. So I think it's important for us to try to balance technology with the needs of a customer, and be able to listen to a customer's needs and be able to assess and determine what some of those technology applications might be best suited for that particular need or requirement. So I think that's really a challenge for us. How do we balance security with wireless access, with ease of use? And I think that is a challenge for all the manufacturers to address and work with you guys, the customers, on how do we intersect some of that technology and your curriculum into providing a good institutional experience for your students, for the faculty and staff, if they're using some of the newer technology, and be able to bring all of that together securely, easily, and efficiently.
Follow-up question about sort of HP's philosophy in terms of how they look at education versus other sectors of the market. Like, is there a way you can kind of explain some of that?
Sure, and I think she mentioned it a little bit, Rosie here, about how we're really working closely with the K-12 students, if you will, institutions. We're really addressing and helping with Common Core, and how does HP provide technology to be able to provide Common Core studies and so forth. So we're really trying to work in that area of bringing good technology to the K-12 environment, but then also how do we bridge that gap between some of the K-12 educational items into more higher ed, and how do they continue to use that technology and be familiar with it when they're in a higher ed institution?
I'd like to jump in if I
Yeah,
could.
please.
So one of the things, we talked about challenges. If you just think about 2 or 3 years ago, the laptop that you used to use probably weighed about as much as a textbook and probably had a 4-hour battery life. So when we talk about challenges, when we started our heavy-duty engineering work the last couple years to reduce the size and the weight of a device and to make the battery life 12 hours. In many cases, you have 18-hour battery life on some of these platforms, whereas just a couple years ago, it was only 4 hours. So we started from that point, and then one of the things that we've done with HP and our other partners is to take that thin and light methodology, get it in the hands of students, and we've paid a lot of attention to the K-12 market the last 2-3 years, and that's your pipeline into the university. So what we want to do is take that platform and that innovation and move it up to the stack into your pipeline. So when you think about thin and light a couple years ago, now you're looking at interoperability between various vendors such as Microsoft, Apple, Google, and you have students coming into the pipeline of the university that either have a PC, a Chromebook, or an Apple device. One of the things that we've really focused at Intel is to make the user experience much better than what it's been in the past. We've got the thin and light thing down. Vendors such as HP have those products. Now we want to make it work better, faster, and seamless in your environment.
Brett, can you sort of elaborate on maybe 1 or 2 products or services that you're excited about that Intel is sort of looking at or really trying to innovate around at this point?
Sure, there's a couple things on the market, and we've really showed it today. The wireless technology, I think a number of people here have talked to me, or I've talked to them about no wires, and that's the philosophy of direction. And one of the real directions that you'll see end of this year, early next year, is no passwords, and doing facial recognition, 3D cameras, voice-activated systems. So in other words, your PC will be asleep. You'll say, "Hello, computer," like the Star Trek metaphor. It'll wake up, it'll recognize you, it'll log you in, it'll know your credentials, it'll talk to your Active Directory network, and that it knows that it's Brett, or knows that it's Mike, or Rosie, or Lance. and you don't have to touch the machine at all. You're ready to go. And that's a technology I'm really excited about. And it took us 2 years to get to that point, so the real exciting stuff is coming.
Yeah, sounds. So is some of the stuff that you're describing going to be introduced first in the K-12 arena before it gets to higher ed, or how do you see that being implemented?
Yeah, it's interesting the way that that the technology gets introduced. So those are really what I consider more higher level features and a more expensive platform. But the way that we work at Intel, we introduce those features new in what we call a consumer version, and then it trickles down into the enterprise or the higher ed market. So those features will be coming into the market this fall, and then early next year you'll see them coming in the enterprise space. And HP is doing some really neat work, bringing those enterprise platforms into the marketplace. And Lance talked a lot about enterprise and security. HP is really known for taking those features that we build in the platform and making it available in a trustworthy, ready to implement package.
So Lance, what are some of the products or services or things that you're working on that excites you?
Yeah, some of the stuff that we brought out this week were the mobility products, some of the hardware that Brett was talking about regarding the facial recognition software and voice activation and biometric authentication that is built into our commercial products today that are available for APU, as well as back in the left corner there, I see it out of the corner of my eye, the ZVR 3D solution that we co-developed with a company called ZSpace that allows folks in 3D to manipulate objects and be able to, for a clinician or for nursing, for physical therapy, to be able to, in 3D, be able to take objects and manipulate those for education. And then finally the Sprout, which is, I think, very nice for those that want to do more creative type applications, AutoCAD, CAD, SolidWorks, because of some of the interaction of both physical mat and screen and the ability to transition in between those two formats, which is really neat for not only immersive technology and immersive computing, but for creativity.
Well, Rosie, anything you want to comment on the things that you're seeing that are exciting you as an aggregator or integrator of technology?
Well, because we're not a manufacturer, you're absolutely correct, but we are the authorized partner that represent a lot of manufactured products such as like Intel and HP, and we have great partnerships with them. But I think today the question is, technology changes so much. We eat and breathe this stuff on a daily basis, and we still get customers that call us and say, have you heard of this? Can we do this? How about that? And do you have a solution for this? And that's the challenge that we face today. But the exciting news is that there is an answer to a lot of those questions. And so it's our job as a partner to be able to work with key manufacturers like Intel and HP today to be able to bring those solutions to the table, whether it's walking into a classroom and stop taking attendance and do it by biometrics, so now that your hand gets scanned in or your eyes get scanned in. I mean, it's really futuristic, but someone's doing it and someone is implementing those technologies. Government, why can't we bring it over to education? Why not make it more exciting, make our jobs more flexible, and create efficiencies in place?
Thank you. So, as you've heard earlier this week, the last 2 days, from some of the faculty speakers that we've had, they shared a lot of their excitement, obviously, of things that they're using. They also shared some of their challenges and frustrations and some of their wish lists that they also shared. Did anything that you heard during those panels sort of stuck out to you and that you maybe want to respond to?
Yeah, I'd be glad to do that. And a lot of the things that I've heard the last couple days, I've heard elsewhere, so you guys are not unique. And that's the good thing. And the other important part of it is we're working towards solving those problems. So specifically when you talk about teaching and learning with technology, some of the no wires struggles, and having a teacher come in or professor come in and get up to the podium and connect their teaching device, no matter who the manufacturer is, make it simpler, easy to use, auto connect, no wires, no broken pins, missing cables. We get that message and we're working towards that. So So we're aware of the challenges. We've got, technologies in place that we're developing to do that. But the part that I really found interesting here, unlike other places that I've heard, is a number of the professors have said, come into our classrooms, show us how to use this, come out and be a partner and help us solve these problems. And that's what I really get excited about, and that's what I really enjoy. Rather than showing PowerPoints and handing PDFs, I'd rather take stuff and get it in people's hands and make it work for them and see the look on their face. So that was probably what I learned the most over the last couple days.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll take it. I guess the same theme here. It seemed to be the overriding theme as we heard the different panels and talked to folks who came into the room and sat with us at the different pods of technology. It seemed to be a connectivity, wireless. I want to be able to wirelessly move throughout my classroom, collaborate with my students wirelessly. Again, I want to emphasize the security piece of it, because I know IT really wants to balance that wireless access with the ability to secure those devices and create a opportunity for an environment that is secure for both the instructor and the student. So I think that's been an overriding theme. But as we talked about, bringing technology to you guys. This technology is available through us, through Intelitech, through Intel, to get it into your hands, give it to you to test. When you buy a car, you want to test drive that car. So we certainly encourage you folks to do that. Contact us and let us bring the technology to you and let you kick the tires, and in some cases we'll stay and train you on that. I'll certainly offer up Rosie to spend hours with you to train.
Yeah.
Is that a no?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a yes. It's just emphatic yes. So please take us up on that offer. This technology is available to all of you.
Yesterday, the day before yesterday, as we were sitting in the audience, listening to the faculty and staff on the panel, we were all looking at each other with these big smiles, because we were like listening to these words that were music to our ears, because they're hungry for this. They want best practices, they want the technology, and they're ready for it because they know that their students are advancing fairly quickly. So I was excited sitting out there listening to them, and we're like, oh my God, this is great. This is fantastic. And I have to tell you that every single one of you that we have interacted here at APU today has been fantastic. You guys are reaching out to us. You guys want us here. And that is music to our ears as well. But to also comment to these two gentlemen is not just satisfying the end user, but also making sure that we support the IT staff in a proper way. Security, manageability, making sure that you're strong, that you can handle the bandwidth. And there's a lot of challenges ahead of us, but I think that's a good thing. And I think the fact that your organization, your university acknowledges that is the first step, and the fact that it's the first step, that's music, because then we can all play in the same room and accomplish those goals at the end. So thank you, everybody.
Yeah, one thing I'd really like to say is that the IT staff here at APU are just phenomenal. As Rosie said, we were sitting around smiling each other because we thought we were here to do demos, and in many cases the IT staff were actually doing our job, showing their customers how this stuff works. So I felt that that was the ultimate success, when I've taught someone else to feel comfortable and use the technology enough to show it to their own people, that I thought that was a really good sign that we were doing the right things.
All right, so we're down to our last question, and this is not something I've given you ahead of time. So
Oh boy, here it comes. Here it comes.
Surprise question.
Lance goes first, by the way.
So I think as the last question, I'd like to kind of get your, if you were to look at the crystal ball, 5 years down the line, how do you see sort of what the big technologies are, and what are some of the things that you would encourage an institution like APU to start preparing for, just from your perspective? So futuristic thinking here.
As Brett said, I will go first. I think as we see this technology morph and get better and better as the years go on, of course we're getting smaller and more efficient devices. Better security is in place, and I think some of the technology that you'll see come out in the next few years is more voice recognition. I think you're going to see a lot of more voice recognition type authentication, in addition to facial and biometric. But I think that is one of the areas that we're going to see a lot of improvement is more voice activated. Be able to, at some point, this is more Star Trek but technology, but at some point be able to tap a lapel pin and say, log me into the network, and everything is internet connected. You know, your refrigerator, your toaster, your alarm clock is going to be able to provide you with content, immerse you in technology, and be able to provide that connectivity wherever, whenever you want it.
That's great.
You can go, Rosie. Yeah, go for it.
That's okay, Brett. You can go last. What would be the future? Well, gosh, that's a loaded question, but I think we all have a vision of what the future will look like. I mean, let's face it, you know, the movies are already making it, right? A couple people already said that they want the Matrix, right? They want that futuristic. And I think that is actually closer than we realize. Whether we use voice recognition, whether we get scanned in because there's an embedded chip somewhere in our body, whether through a mobile device or whatever the case may be, it's where it's going. But who knows where the future tells. What I can tell you is that it's very exciting. And just when we think we have or know it all, someone out there is already reinventing something better. I personally think cars are going to go away in 10 years, maybe not, and we're going to be beamed from place to place. Seriously, like that Star Trek. I mean, they created that, what, in the 70s, 80s, something like that? I'm like, wouldn't that be really cool? And I was talking to a few folks earlier, and I'm going to say this, and I know this kind of sounds strange, but if you really think about even something, the simple task like taking a picture, I mean, there is an object that all you have to do is push a little button, and that little button captures every single detail about that individual or the space that you're taking. So if you can do that and beam a person from one area to the other, I mean, that's pretty feasible. And who knows, and probably in 5-10 years. So
Thank you.
I'm not, real quick, I'm not a fan of a chip embedded in me, by the way. I'm excited about being able to be teleported to another dimension, perhaps, but I just wanted to be on the record that I'm not a fan of being chipped. No, I prefer.
Well, I'll jump in and say that last week we chipped him and he wasn't aware of it. So there's a couple things that I see in the future. The mobility piece is really important. You know, if you think of where we were 10 years ago with a cell phone that was the size of a brick, and now it's in your pocket and it's basically a supercomputer. So I really think that your mobile device will really be your key to your portal to where you go, the location, your facial recognition. And I think that if I was an undergraduate student or looking to go to school here, it'd be really nice to know that I could do everything on my phone, that it would show me my calendar, tell me what classroom it's in, my professor sending me A's through an email, or letting me know that a test is coming in or that my assignments are due. Know when the classroom is, or that there's a classroom change. So that mobility piece, I think, is really important. Basically, the PC will be your phone in the future. I also think we may have like a kiosk or something. You grab your mobile device, which is your phone, you check it into a dock. It's a full function PC, whether it's home or at school. And then the other part that this is my plug for IT here, is the infrastructure. So these things are beautiful. They look really simple, easy to use, but it's really the infrastructure that makes it happen. And you have to invest in the infrastructure, and it's more than just buying servers. It's the software, the applications, the integration, the security, and that's a big piece of it. So 95% of the population just assume that it works, but the people that live with it every day know that the investments in the infrastructure are very important, and you have to plan and build that infrastructure 2 to 3 years in advance of when you're actually able to take care of it. So there's that piece, and then I'm actually looking forward to being chipped, actually. It'd be nice to be untethered from my computer.
Well, thank you, Brett, Lance, and Rosie for your time, and thank you for being here, and thank you for being great partners. So let's everyone thank them.